Right now, the UK is wasting energy. Not just a little bit, £1.5 billion worth. And we're losing this every single year. And you're paying for it. So every so often on this channel, I like to take a break from talking about the technicalities of solar and heat pumps and look at the state of the UK energy industry. And I like to look and say, what could be done to fix the huge problems we face as a country? Now, our politicians are never going to take the big steps forward that we need. But that doesn't mean we can't think about them. We just need to think outside the box. Think about solutions that no politician is ever going to put forward. And today we're going to do exactly that with what I like to call the big idea. Now, when the UK has a glut of renewable energy, whether it's too much wind in the North Sea or a bright sunny day and we're exporting tons of solar, the grid can't handle it. Now, that doesn't mean the grid isn't fit for purpose. It just means that where the energy is generated and where the energy is needed are not always in the same places. So we can't move that energy from where we generate it to where it's needed quickly enough to satisfy demand. So what do we do when that happens? We pay wind farms to turn off. And then we go and buy that energy from a gas plant that will generate the electricity close to where it's needed. Now let that sink in for a moment, because we are generating, or we have the ability to generate clean energy. It's ready to use, but instead of using it, we throw it away and then we pay a gas-fired power plant to turn on at great expense to generate the energy that we've already got the capability to generate somewhere else at a much lower price point. So last year alone, this cost us around £1.5 billion. Now you can check this out for yourselves if you go to wastedwind.com. This is a website one of the Octopus data visualization team has put together, and it shows in near real time exactly how much we're paying to energy producers to stop producing. And it's not because their energy isn't good, we couldn't use it, it's just we can't get it from where it is to where it's needed. But those costs don't just disappear, they get added onto your bill. And at the same time you're paying 25 to 30p a kilowatt hour, which by the way are some of the highest prices in Europe, we have a glut of energy and we're using even more expensive energy because we don't have the ability to move the energy to where we need it. So here's the question, why aren't we storing it? Now, there are grid scale batteries out there, but in the grand scheme of things, they're minuscule. They're tiny batteries, maybe a couple of 100 megawatt hours, which would at peak times, maybe provide 20 to 30 seconds of what the grid needs. Then we've got things like pumped hydro, like the Electric Mountain, the Norwich power station. They are really good at providing very low cost energy exactly when you need it. Unfortunately, we don't have the right geology, the right or the amount of space needed to build more electric mountains. So we need something much simpler, and something we already have, and that's small batteries. In fact, millions of small batteries. We could put one in every single home in the UK. Think about this for a minute. If we were to put a 2 to 4 kilowatt hour battery that plugs into a normal plug socket that doesn't require expensive installation, doesn't require an electrician to come to your house, something you just plug straight in, when there's excess energy, the grid could send a signal and your batteries charge automatically. You don't have to do anything. You get a text saying your battery's charged, it's there, it's free for you to use. Later in the day, when your home needs the power, whether it's to run your fridge, your Wi-Fi, any other of your background loads, that battery can supply it. and it hasn't cost you anything, and we haven't had to pay the generators to turn off. Now, a small battery like this isn't about running your whole house. You're not going to suddenly replace all of your expensive energy needs, but you will replace a portion of it every single day. So let's do the maths here, because let's say we were to buy off-the-shelf batteries. Now, if this were to go forward, the government would be insane to just go out there and buy off-the-shelf batteries. At the quantities we're talking here, we should be building a gigafactory in the UK. We should be building these batteries here, creating jobs, and having them pushed out into the network. Think of them like an add-on to your smart meter, something that you may not even own. They're just provided to you to put into your house, and then the grid can use that to balance and save energy when it needs to. But you could also use them to charge them overnight with cheap rate electricity when there isn't any free electricity going, and save yourselves money that way. So if we had a 2 kilowatt hour battery in every single person's house, and you look at the sort of average price between peak and off peak, so something like economy 7, don't require an EV tariff or anything like that, but the difference between peak and off peak might save you 20 pence a kilowatt hour if you charge the battery in the middle of the night and then you discharged it during the day. So about 40 pence a day. Now, nobody's getting rich on 40 pence a day, but 40 pence a day every single day of the week is about 150 to 200 pounds a year, depending on your tariff. Over the lifespan of that battery, it's going to save that person £2,000. But more importantly, when you start adding all of these small batteries together, what you stop is us having to pay out £1.5 billion to turn off wind turbines. And the added benefit is you get to use the battery at other times to cut your electricity bills. All of this from one small device that you could plug into a plug socket in your house. Now imagine this. If we started with 1 million homes, we put a battery into each of them. Again, we'll say 2 kilowatt hours. That's 2 gigawatt hours of storage that would be available to the grid when there is an excess of energy to be able to press a button and send a signal and have all of these batteries turn on and charge. Now, we already have all of the technology to do this because the grid has balancing tools built in. A good example of this is anyone who's got an EV will know that when you plug in your charger says, hey, I'm going to randomly delay the start of your charge for anywhere between 1 and 10 minutes. And this is so that everything doesn't all come on at the same time. Now, we could do the same with these distributed batteries, is we wouldn't let them all suddenly come on and charge at exactly the same time. They would be controlled, they would be turned on where there is excess energy. Different batteries would come on at different times to really sort of even out the load in the grid. This isn't new technology. We've had this technology for a long time. And the reality is, this doesn't require some expensive technical solution to make all of this work. And it's not even that expensive. If you do the maths, we're spending £1.5 billion a year turning off wind turbines. If we took that £1.5 billion and we built batteries, let's say they cost £500 per battery, which isn't far off what you can buy a 2 kilowatt hour battery for today. That's 3 million homes a year that we could put batteries into. 3 million homes every single year with a small battery in their house who'd be reducing their energy bills year in, year out. And as we roll this program out to every single home in the UK, we might find that we don't need as such big upgrades to the grid because we have now this massive distributed battery that runs across the whole country. So we're taking money that we are currently wasting today, that we're just handing to the wind farm providers to say, shut down, and then we're spending more money elsewhere to turn the gas plants on, and we're turning it into something that not only solves a lot of the problems with the UK grid, but also helps people with their energy bills. So this really isn't a technical problem, it's a thinking problem. Our politicians today have a complete lack of ideas. They're tied into old ways of thinking. They're too worried about what will the press say, what will people say on Twitter or other social media things. And that really sort of tamps down their ability to think big. Sometimes you've got to say, tell you what, let's just do it. Let's not worry about what the Daily Telegraph is going to say tomorrow morning. Let's do this and let's bring down millions of people's bills. This isn't just about saving energy. This is about building an industry. This could be something that the government could roll out, like I say, build the Gigafactory, start producing our own battery cells, produce the batteries here in the UK, create jobs, and make the whole industry state-owned. Don't subcontract it out. Don't let private companies come in and do this. By all means, they can be suppliers to the company, but the company should be owned and operated by the country for the benefit of the people of the country. Now, I say build a gigafactory. The likelihood is if we're going to be installing millions of these batteries into, we're going to need multiple gigafactories. And these factories could produce batteries for other uses as well, whether they be electric cars, home storage batteries, laptops. There are so many things that require batteries. Building a factory like this would really sort of kickstart jobs and skills and all sorts of other benefits other than just putting batteries into people's house. Then you wrap around this all of the installation and support people are going to need, people to deliver them, people to maybe help the elderly to get them set up and plugged in their house. We create jobs not just where the factory is, but in every single region of the country. Then we layer on applications, smart apps, aggregation platforms, grid control systems. All of this builds a software industry that the UK can be proud of. Instead of us just thinking, we'll just take a few policy costs off of your bills and everyone will be happy with that. So right now, we are paying to waste energy. We then pay again to create that energy somewhere else. And I know there are going to be people in the comments say, well, why don't we just stop putting wind turbines out there and use gas? Because our bills are expensive enough with the small amount of gas that we use to fulfill demand. If we move to a completely gas-centric energy system, your bills not only would be much bigger, but they would also be much more volatile when things like the current crisis in the Middle East happen. So we don't need to replace the grid. We don't need massive changes to what's happening. We have all the technology today. We just need to be smart about this and stop wasting energy. Store it in people's homes, let people use it rather than throwing it away. And that's the big idea. So here's my question to you. Would you like this if the government came along and said, here is a 2 kilowatt battery, we'd like you to plug this in your house, we're going to control it, but we're going to let you use the energy for free? Would that be something that you would find acceptable? Let me know in the comments below. So that's my video for today. I know this is a diversion from our sort of normal fare, but hopefully you can see where I'm going with this concept of the big idea. We have to do something, and this is just one possible alternative. Let me know what you think in the comments below. With that, I'm going to sign off. It just remains for me to say, if you've got this far in the video, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you back here when normal service resumes in the near future. Take care. Bye-bye.